Hello and welcome to another live stream with me, Christian Rauchwald, on this mediocre Friday afternoon. I hope you all have a great day and had a great week so far. It's Valentine's Day, so yeah, do whatever you will with that. As always, before we jump into this episode of Common Cares Live, let's get the usual disclaimer out of the way. Everything that I share in this live stream / video is my personal opinion and in no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. Besides that, I want to start off with, if you take a look in the chat, you see a pinned message. And I would ask you, if you have the time, I'm going to switch to my main screen actually, to go and vote for now can I click on it? Yes. For Koinly to also add the integration for or support for Pi Network. For those of you that don't know Koinly, I'm going to share a link for Koinly itself. 1 second. There's the link for Koinly itself. It's a portfolio tracker that also is used for making or declaring your crypto taxes if you live in a country that requires reporting of crypto taxes. You can actually find a video of it actually on the main channel. So if you go to the channel and you scroll down, you will see Best Crypto Portfolio Tracker. It's the one I've been using for years. And I really would like them to add support for the Pi Network blockchain. Why? Because if they add the support for the Pi Network blockchain, I don't have to deal with manually creating transactions and stuff like that. I'm a little bit disappointed. Pi Network has 10 million migrated pioneers, almost 20 million KYZ verified users, and anywhere, I don't know, around 60 or 40 million users. And Koinly is one of the biggest platforms and services, not only as a portfolio tracker, but actually for people in Europe, the US, Canada, and so on, to help prepare the documents that they need to report their taxes. And despite millions of Pi Network users and me already mentioning the request here a couple of times during videos, live streams on Discord and so on, there are only 37 votes. Yeah. So if there is one thing you can do to help Pi Network today, it's simply use that link that's pinned in the message. And so I'm going to highlight it here as well. Use that link to go there and then simply vote here. You don't have to pay anything. There is no cost. It's just at most you have to, I don't know, use your Google account to log in or so, and then you can vote here. And the more votes there are, the more likely it becomes that Koinly adds the integration. And if Koinly adds the integration, it also means that I don't know how many thousands or hundreds of thousands Koinly users would also see Pi Network maybe for the first time, which is also in your interest. Yeah, so that's the one thing you should do today. And again, I'm really looking forward to getting a few more votes here. I will know if on Monday we check here and there's still 37 votes that not a single one of you was willing to spend 1 minute to go and vote it. So yeah, please do that. I would consider it a huge favor. And as explained, it would also help Pi Network in general, at least indirectly in some way. Now that said, today, before we jump into the comments and the questions that you might share in the chat, let's actually start with another post that I found. So there is the user Chromatics or Chromati-X on Reddit that actually keeps an updated list of the different exchanges. And even I'm going to have to share that one on Discord real quick. Don't forget, you can also share, join our Discord community. Gabriella, our lovely moderator, might drop the link for that. You can also find it otherwise in the video description down below. And in that Discord community, we obviously are discussing, among other things, Pi Network, yeah, and other projects. Yeah, I know. Should share the link as well, yeah. There we go. So yeah, then don't need that anymore. So I said Discord community also worth joining. There you can reach me and the community outside of the streams. Now looking at that, if we, well, OKX was the first exchange that I noticed that is about to list Pi. We can see that FMC Pay is going to list it. It says it's a top 90 exchange or number 90 among 100. Yeah, we don't know which pair yet. USA is theoretically supported. But the website is inaccessible, so maybe with a VPN, yeah. EU, yes, but the trading pair is not found yet. AltPay, there's no additional information. Phamex, not available for the USA, and for Europe, the pair is not listed yet. BitVex, website down, okay, that's not a good sign. Roku, we looked at that one or mentioned it yesterday during the stream. No US support, EU pair not listed. Celia Finance apparently for Nigerian users relevant. So, I mean, there might be other exchanges, but that one has support for Nigeria. Lbank, no US, EU support, yes, but the trading pair is not listed yet, or at least is not visible to EU users, and so on. So, Weeks, apparently number 46, not sure what list or ranking they are ranked by, but should support EU and US. CoinX, Onos, and so on, yeah. What else do we have? EU pair on Max, yeah, so MEXC. Yeah, so actually I'm gonna share that link as well with you guys. Of course, would be unfair. List of exchanges that announced their intention / plans to list Pi. Yeah, so you can also check out that post directly. It would have been unfair if I just shared on Reddit. Yeah, we will not go through all the exchanges, but we can see HTX. And HTX might be one of the interesting ones. Why? Because HTX is also the one that one of the exchanges that used to have the Pi IOUs, and it's a very interesting move. I did not expect that. HTX actually yesterday informed their users that if they hold the Pi IOUs, that they will simply be closed out at the closing price of $61.28 US, and so or USDT. So they just get the USDT balance into their account instead of actually getting Pi or getting the Pi IOUs converted into Pi, which means if we look CoinMarketCap, Pi network where we find the IOUs, yeah, which means OKX basically decided there is no history missing. There was already more history. So January 23, or maybe it's because I have a too long period, yeah. But OKX basically decided that they simply are gonna credit the USDT balance instead of being forced to buy Pi coins to fill the wallets of the people that hold the Pi IOU. Yeah. Probably, I don't know what the listing price for HTX was, but it's an interesting move because you can see based on the trading volume that HTX was the biggest exchange in terms of trading volume as far as the Pi IOUs go. And obviously, if HTX originally offered the IOUs for, let's say, $50, and now they closed them out at 61.2, then they would have made a small loss. If they listed them originally at $100, then they would have made a profit. So, but I don't know what the original, so at what price they originally started listing it, and yeah, but it's interesting to see because it means that HTX will not have to buy any Pi coins on the open market because they simply already decided they will credit users with the last rate that they will have before they shut down the IOU trading. Yeah. It's also interesting because it means they are also clearly and very transparent stating that the trading so far has been with IOUs. Yeah. So that's quite something to consider. Now, additionally, before we move on to other topics, and I'll actually address the chat and so on. Yeah. I will try. I'll have to look, but I will try and check my calendar to maybe schedule a live stream for the official launch of the mainnet, or for the official launch of the trading, potentially on MEXC, because there I can see the Pi USD trading pair with a countdown. It's in 5 days and a couple hours. And yeah, like basically maybe monitor the first hour of trading in a live stream. So I don't have any Pi to sell. I don't plan to sell and so on. Yeah. But basically so that we have a recording of the initial listing price and what happened within the first hour after that. So keep an eye. If you aren't subscribed yet, then hit the subscribe button, enable notifications so you get notified once I have the stream scheduled for the Pi launch on potentially MEXC. So that's one of the exchanges I have an account for where I can see the Pi USD trading pair. I will check the others as well and keep an eye on. If I find a better exchange, then I will use that one. But yeah, anyway. Mr. Anderson 10 says, hello Christian and Gabriella, on the example of Binance listing requirements, can you calculate OKX listing of Pi? Suppose they have the same, we could estimate the start price. No, we cannot. So first of all, you can Google the listing requirements for many exchanges. They are public, OKX listing fee. Judge, or that's marketplace. No, that's different. Trading fee, fee rate, listing on. So listing fee here, it's mentioned $300,000. Yeah, but OKX clearly, I'm fairly certain because the core team did not announce any listings or corporations or whatever, that OKX and some of the exchanges, which most of them are smaller exchanges, and I'm fairly certain that all of them decided on their own to list Pi Network, simply because it means there are already 10 million migrated users. Those are 10 million KYZ verified unique accounts. So for each of those exchanges, if they become the biggest trading place for Pi Network, it gives them the potential of 10 million new users that create trading volume where they earn on the fees. Yeah. Additionally, as for the price, OKX actually explained it very well. So OKX to list Pi Network, the way this works, at least on OKX, and I assume all the other exchanges will have similar approaches, yeah, is it starts with a so-called call auction that lasts at least 10 minutes, but for Pi Network, it's 1 hour. And during that auction, you could say you want to sell your Pi for $1,000 per Pi, and I could say I want to buy whatever 10 Pi for $1 per Pi, and somebody else says, I don't know, like some of the delusionals that believe in the global consensus value say they want to sell for 314,000 per Pi, and then some other people are, oh, if it's 1 cent I would buy, so they make an order and say I'm willing to buy 1,000 Pi at 1 cent, and somebody else says I'm willing to buy 1,000,000 Pi at 0.0001, and so on. So there's an entire hour where people can submit their orders, and they can change them until the last 5 minutes. And then during the last 5 minutes, they cannot change them anymore. You can still submit new orders, but you cannot change them anymore. And then the exchange takes all those orders, and it will then be basically, it calculates then what starting price would result in the majority of orders to execute. Yeah. So, but what price would cause most of the submitted orders to actually go through, and that's then the starting price. Yeah. So it has nothing to do with the listing fee, if there was one paid, if there was none paid, if they charge one or not. It simply is based on, in this case, on an auction that determines the listing price. Yeah. And I guess there might be a little bit chaotic. It's theoretically also possible that the starting price on OKX will be slightly different than it is on other exchanges, especially if they all have their independent auctions. But then there will be eventually at the whatever, probably within minutes, or if not within seconds, the price will basically or should be the same across all exchanges. Yeah. So I hope that clarifies that about the starting price. Can we trade a Pi in Africa? Yes, once the open mainnet launches. Yeah. Right now, exchanging Pi is still prohibited. Yeah. So even if I would tell you I'll buy your Pi, it would still be not allowed. So only starting with the open mainnet on the 20th of February. Yeah. And as we showed earlier, if you watch the stream from the beginning, or check out the link that we shared here, with the exchanges on Reddit. There is at least one that specifically mentions Nigeria, and so this one is available only in Nigeria and not for US EU citizens. I know there are other countries in Africa, so I just checked the list, and there's probably one that also works for you if you're not in Nigeria, yeah. And then you know which exchange will list Pi Network there where you can trade, yeah. Luke Dawson says, I heard Binance got their KYB rejected by Pi Network. Do you have any source of that? I mean, I'm not saying that I would be surprised or so, yeah, because Binance, or I'm not sure if Binance would even care to list it, to be honest, because Binance is one of the biggest exchanges in the world, yeah. So they already, if not the biggest, what's the biggest? Binance is literally the biggest exchange right now, or number one ranked trading volume wise. Also, it's 3 times as big in terms of trading volume as the second place, or more than 3 times as big. So it's an exchange that at least right now, from their own opinion, they can just not give a shit in quotes, because they already make a fortune with every transaction from those 17 billions that are traded just the last 24 hours, they earn a small cut in fees. Yeah. So even if they would get 10 million new users, they have 16 million weekly visits of their exchange. So even if they get 10 million new users, doesn't mean that would boost their numbers for a week, but yeah, so I doubt, especially since Binance is it's the top exchange, it's the one that charges the most, and I doubt that they would care about getting it listed. So they would probably rather have the core team come and then charge them 700,000 fee, yeah. And as for the KYB, it would be possible, because Binance is also not just Binance, but from a legal structure, there are obviously multiple entities, and passing KYB when you have a corporate structure with different subsidiaries or so can be a pain in the ass, yeah. But yeah, thanks for clarifying that you don't have a specific source for that. So so I would not be surprised if Binance applies somewhere for KYB, that then whichever employee takes care of submitting the documents ends up submitting something wrong because of their corporate structure that has some complexity. But I also honestly, considering the size of Binance, would be surprised if they actively would bother to list Pi for free. I'm not sure how much, I don't know, I mean, maybe we find the number, Binance number of users, yeah. So Binance has a total number of 200 million users. Obviously, not all of them are super active, but within the last week, basically 16 million visits on the website, yeah, on the exchange. And if they add, so basically, even if every single migrated pioneer signs up at Binance, and it's also not available in all jurisdictions, yeah, it would only increase their user numbers by 5%. Yeah, so, and then that's assuming, so at best, it would increase their temporary revenue by 5%. Yeah. So, and that's at best, that would be if exactly half of all so all 10 million sign up, and half of the pioneers wants to sell, and the other half wants to buy to achieve the maximum in trading volume among those 10 million users. So, yeah, like, I know everybody would be excited if Binance listed, and I'm not saying that it's never going to happen. I just don't believe that Binance will be listing it proactively. I think they will wait either until Pi becomes so well known across the crypto world that it's simply the same thing as listing Litecoin, Ethereum, USDT and stuff like that, or until the core team actually says, hey, here are 700,000, please list us. Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. So if you find a source, Discord the best place, because then I can also then share it in the next stream. If not, then yeah, it's pure speculation. I'm also just sharing my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe they applied, maybe they really got rejected. But as I said, I would, considering all the numbers and looking at it from Binance perspectives, that it makes not a huge impact on their balance sheet. I would be surprised if they proactively try to get a Pi account verified for their exchange. Yeah. Yeah. Let's close a few of those things. Yeah, so sorry, do you think it's a big deal Bybit refused to list Pi. I don't know. I don't know about that. So I mean, I'm trying to keep up with everything. Yeah. But let's see. Ah, there. So 1 day ago. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that he might just try to capitalize. So I haven't even heard of Bybit. Yeah. So, but it's hard to keep track of all the exchanges. Let's see. Oh, it's actually the second best ranked. Okay, I actually am surprised by that. And trading volume wise, it's also number 2. Okay, shame on me for not knowing it. But yeah, I mean, I'm mostly on Coinbase since I'm living in Europe. Coinbase is regulated here, yeah. And only if I need something that's not available on Coinbase, I have to look for alternatives. Bybit CEO, blah, 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 has bluntly refused the idea of him joining the Pi network, saying, I'll keep my distance. He said that he was recently asked to join Pi, but he turned down the offer. That's actually calling it ridiculous. That's actually not about listing. This here is he was recently asked to join Pi. So somebody else asked him to create his account. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So I feel like this is a little bit misleading. He refused the idea of him joining Pi Network, yeah. So that he creates an account, yeah. But I mean, to be fair, what does he gain if he's the CEO of the second biggest exchange in the world? He already has millions, yeah. So what does he gain from pushing a button 1 per day when the mining rate is 0.0 something? So I think this feels misleading, yeah. So now where did I have the Google results? There, yeah. So let's see if we find something else. I feel like the other news sites are doing a crappy job. Yeah. So there they say he has rejected requests to list Pi Network. But okay, there it is. Okay, so a bunch of people asked me today if I wanted to list Pi. I said, don't mess with me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think that's like, I don't know, that's like a decision based on, I think the comparison lacks. So he says, back when I traded Forex, I had elderly investors waving banners demanding their money back, yeah. So when he was trading Forex and probably people invested with him or he shared strategies or whatever, yeah, people lost money, and he's now worried that if he lists Pi and people invest in it and it then crashes, that they would then make drama. I think that's more like, okay, I'm not going to list it on day 1 because I'm not sure if it will just dump or succeed. But it's not ruling it out. But I still believe there's also some, yeah, like, so I said, here it's about him being asked to join Pi. Here it's about the listing. So, but I don't consider that a big deal. I actually think it's, it might be the wrong thing, but it's similar to Binance, you know, just that nobody from Binance made a statement that I know of, yeah. So it's simply, if you're that big already and you rake in millions, you don't have to list a new coin that could go either way and risk your reputation. Because obviously if Pi gets listed and let's say it shoots up, and then more and more people out of FOMO, fear of missing out, jump on the token or coin, and then suddenly it dumps completely. Maybe when the locked up coins unlock, maybe when suddenly on 1 day 1 million users get migrated that decide to sell in 1 day or something like that, yeah. And then you have suddenly a part of your user base that's going to blame you for listing a pump and dump token or so, because they will not do their research and will not understand why the movement happened like this or so, yeah. So I feel it's a reasonable choice to say, okay, I'm already a big fish in the pond. I don't need to, I don't need the extra potential, whatever, 10 million users. And that would assume that all 10 million would be able to sign up with him, that Bybit is available in all the countries where every Pi user is, and that all of them would decide to sign up with him. Yeah. So the exchange apparently is big enough, generates enough revenue. Sure, in comparison to Binance, they're still relatively small, but yeah, it feels like it feels like yeah, he could have phrased it differently. And I feel like the two different statements, so the one that is about him joining Pi, which again, if you're already fucking rich and you make millions per year, you're not gonna care about some potential new crypto that could maybe be worth something or a lot in the future. Yeah, you're already doing well, more than well. Yeah. And the second statement, as said, is the comparison lags. Yeah. But basically what he says is like, since I don't know, or to me, the way I understand it is like, since I don't know if Pi Network will go to the moon, or if it might go up and then crash, or if it will dump immediately, I don't want to risk the reputation of my exchange. Yeah. And that's pretty much how I understand it, which is a reasonable approach if you're already big enough. If you're on the whatever exchange list and your exchange number, whatever, I don't know, trading volume wise, if you have like here you have like an astonishing 500,000 in trading volume, well, you might take the risk, because if you get a million new users, you suddenly have so much more trading volume, which means since you earn on every transaction a little bit, so much more money to work with, so much more profit in your own pocket. So take the risk. Yeah. If you fail, it's not like you're going to be on every newspaper tomorrow because you're such a low listed exchange that almost nobody knows you. Yeah. But if you are in the big leagues, then obviously your reputation also has a value, and then you probably will, if at all, only list coins and tokens after they have established themselves with some extent. Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Thank you very much. Yeah. Anyway, will Coinbase list Pi? No idea. I think Pi has potential to be listed, but with Coinbase, it's the same thing, that they are big enough. It doesn't make a huge difference. And Coinbase is actually one of the exchanges that really takes care to always comply with all regulations. So they definitely will not list it on day one. I would be shocked if they do. And but however, I see a high potential for Coinbase listing it, because Pi is basically the only cryptocurrency that I know where every single user already completed KYC, and every single exchange wallet or business wallet has to complete KYB. So know your business, which means verification that the business is really a legal entity, that it's active and has proper registration and stuff like that. Yeah. Which makes it a potentially highly compliant coin. I also, thinking about it, I'm not saying that it will be like this, yeah, but thinking about it, I think that also Pi Network or Pi has the potential to be a coin that also most governments will not have an issue with because of the KYC requirements. So the argument that it's used for money laundering, so the usual argument, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is used for money laundering and for whatever, paying for drugs and other illegal stuff, yeah, doesn't work with Pi Network, because each wallet is KYC verified. So if there would be a payment for some illegal stuff, then theoretically the government can then send a subpoena to Social Chain, so the company that operates and built Pi Network, and say, okay, we want to know the identity of this wallet. Yeah. Now one can argue about the downsides and benefits of that, but I feel like as far as regulations go, it gives Pi a huge advantage over all other cryptocurrencies out there to actually become an accepted cryptocurrency across the world. Yeah. It also makes transactions more transparent. If you theoretically, if you buy somebody from something, not if you buy somebody, yeah, don't get me wrong, if you buy something from somebody, yeah, and they scam you, then theoretically, if you what's the English word for it? So not necessarily if you sue them, but if you report them to the police, theoretically the police or a court then would be able to request the identity of the wallet that scammed you, which would make it possible to theoretically actually find the person behind the scam, yeah, which may or may also be good news for all the people that fell for scams so far and lost their Pi, because theoretically the wallets that collected those Pi coins also have to have KYC already behind them. So unless they used some strawman, so somebody that they, I don't know, somehow got to give them the passport and complete the liveness check for them and so on. Scammer wallets theoretically also passed KYZ, which means somewhere social chain, so Pi Network has the passport or identity card that they used and knows their name, the country they are in, and so on, unless again they somehow manage to complete KYZ with fake papers. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, we're unfortunately already at the end of today's stream, so didn't manage to get to any of the comments. I'm sure the next couple of weeks are going to be a little busier with answering questions and so on. As mentioned, don't forget, like, subscribe, and enable notifications. And I'll look into the different listings. I know camera is blurry now for some reason, but yeah, different listings. And I will probably try, so I'll have to check my calendar, my schedule myself, but I will do my best to have a live stream on the listing day itself to basically capture the moment Pi goes live and follow the price development live. So subscribe, enable notifications so you don't miss that. Outside of that, I will wish you all a pleasant weekend and then see you all again on Monday with another stream or another episode of Comment Chaos Live. However, on Monday, the stream is 2 hours later. So instead of 2:30 my time, so German time, so like it started today, it's going to be 2 hours later moving forward, at least for the next week, to see how that works. And yeah, so thanks for stopping by. Have a great rest of the day and a great weekend, and then see you all next week for another episode. Till then, bye-bye.